Attention passionate Montreal, Canadiens fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the Atlantic Division and it could shake up the entire conference. We're talking about a direct impact on Montreal Canadiens' path to another Stanley Cup run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Montreal Canadiens fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your FRINDS and Montreal Canadiens fans. Let's get to the news now, folks. If you've been paying attention to the buzz around the Canadiens lately, you know that Montreal is in a very interesting phase right now. The team, as always, has its eyes set on improving its roster, especially when it comes to that crucial second-line center position. It's no secret that this remains one of the biggest needs for the Canadiens, and it's not just a casual thing. This is a priority for their management as they look to build a team that can contend not just for the playoffs, but for a deep run into the Stanley Cup. Right now, Kirby Dach is the player occupying that spot. Dach has shown flashes of brilliance, and he's got the talent to be a solid second-line center. But as many fans know, injuries have been a recurring issue for him throughout his career. And that's a concern, especially when you're trying to build a consistent, reliable lineup. Injuries can derail even the best plans, and Montreal's management is clearly aware of that. So naturally, they're exploring options, looking at the trade market, considering whether they need to add another center who can step in and stabilize that line if Dach is sidelined again. This is where things get really interesting. According to insider James Murphy of RG.org, the Canadiens are actively shopping 3 young forwards as part of that search for a second-line center. And these names are quite intriguing. First, we have Joshua Roy, a promising 22-year-old winger who has shown a lot of potential. Roy has already played 35 NHL games, and in that brief stint, he's managed to rack up 6 goals and 5 assists. That's a pretty solid scoring punch for someone still trying to establish himself. Montreal has been keeping an eye on him, and there have been rumors that they're open to trading Roy if the right deal comes along. It's not just idle chatter, the team is clearly weighing their options. Then there's Oliver Kapanen. Now, Kapanen was a second-round pick in 2021, so he's still very much in the developmental phase of his career. Last season, he played 18 games, contributing 2 points. He's a player with upside, but he's yet to carve out a full-time NHL role, and that makes him a prime target for teams looking to shake things up or find that missing piece. The Canadiens see him as a versatile option, and with his relatively affordable contract, it's no wonder that there's significant interest from other clubs. And finally, Jayden Struble. This is a young defenseman, only 24, who's entering the first year of a 2-year, $825 million deal. Struble has shown some promising signs in his 56 games, recording 2 goals and 11 assists for a total of 13 points. He's a player with a lot of potential on the blue line, and teams are definitely eyeing him as a future asset. Montreal values his development and sees him as a part of their future plans, but the trade market is always unpredictable. Now, it's important to emphasize that the Canadiens are not just casually shopping these players, they're actively engaging in trade conversations. The goal is to find that perfect fit at second-line center, someone who can bring stability and scoring punch, especially if Dach's injury troubles continue. But the trade market isn't simple. This brings us to the interesting link with the Boston Bruins and their player Pavel Zacha. According to Murphy, Montreal has been one of the teams reaching out to the Bruins about Zacha. Now, this is a pretty significant development because it shows that the Canadiens are willing to explore all options, even if it means dealing with a rival. Imagine that, Montreal, the arch-rival of Boston, potentially making a deal involving a current NHL roster player. That's something you don't see happen every day. As Murphy reports, the Canadiens have expressed genuine interest in Zacha, and they're not alone. The Flames have also shown interest in him, which indicates that Zacha is a hot commodity on the trade block. Currently, Zacha has 2 years remaining on his 4-year, $19 million deal, and last season, he put up 14 goals and 23 assists in 82 games. That's a pretty consistent production level for a player who can slot nicely into a second or third-line role. What makes this even more intriguing is the history between Montreal and Boston. The last time these two rivals made a trade involving a current roster player was way back in February 2001. So, if this deal goes through, it would be quite a historic moment, a true shakeup in the Atlantic Division. It would also be a sign that Montreal is serious about reshaping its roster to push for more success this season. And with the Canadiens having traded away the final year of Carey Price's contract to the San Jose Sharks, they now have some cap flexibility. This move essentially clears the way for them to be more aggressive in the trade market, especially since they don't need to rely on LTIR to manage their cap space anymore. Speaking of cap space, Montreal currently has just over $4.5 million available, which might seem modest, but with smart management and some roster shuffling, they could make a few impactful moves before the trade deadline. And don't forget, the management strategy isn't just about short-term fixes. They're also looking ahead, planning extensions for some of their rising stars. Lane Hutson, for example, is a player who's expected to command a significant extension soon, reflecting his rising value and importance to the team's future. In addition, James Wilson from NHL Trade Rumors suggests that shedding Carey Price's contract, which was traded to the Sharks, will allow Montreal to avoid the complications of LTIR gymnastics each season. Instead, the Canadiens can now focus on building a flexible and competitive roster that can make aggressive moves at the trade deadline without jeopardizing their development plans. This approach gives them a lot of room to maneuver, and it signals a more strategic long-term mindset, one that fans should be excited about. The current roster, with its mix of young talent and seasoned veterans, has a lot of potential. Players like Cole Caulfield and Nick Suzuki continue to be the cornerstone of the franchise's future. But now, with the possibility of adding a player like Zacha or a similar talent, they could be on the verge of taking a significant step forward. The Canadiens are also looking at the bigger picture, building a team that's not just competitive, but one that can sustain success over multiple seasons. That's why these trade talks, these rumors, are so fascinating. They're a glimpse into the strategic planning of a team that's trying to rise from the ashes and establish itself as a true contender once again. And all these moves, all these negotiations, point to a team that's not content with just being average. They want to compete at the highest level, and they're willing to make bold decisions to get there. Whether it's trading prospects like Roy or Kapanen, or making a blockbuster deal for a player like Zacha, Montreal is signaling that they're serious about their Stanley Cup ambitions this season. The fans, the city, everyone is hungry for success, and it looks like the Canadiens are ready to do what it takes. So in summary, what we're seeing is a team in transition, one that's actively exploring its options, looking to upgrade its roster, and perhaps even making some history in the process. The pursuit of a second-line center remains a top priority, and the trade market is heating up. The potential move for Zacha from Boston, if it happens, could be a game-changer, not just for Montreal, but for the entire Atlantic Division. It's an exciting time to be a Canadiens fan, with so many possibilities on the horizon. The season is just around the corner, and with these moves, Montreal is signaling that it's back in the hunt, ready to fight for that Stanley Cup once again. Keep your eyes peeled because things are about to get really interesting, and I promise you won't want to miss what's coming next. Pause here just for a second. If you want the YOUTUBE algorithm to keep recommending the latest Montreal Canadiens news to you, it's super important that you leave a like on this video. Go ahead, it's quick and it makes a big difference. Thank you. Now let us continue with the big reveal. And now Montreal Canadiens fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on all these rumors and trade talks? Do you think Montreal should go all in for Zacha, or do you believe they should stick with their current core and develop from within? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Canadiens. Remember, this is your team, and your voice helps shape the conversation. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, more insights, and all the latest news about your Montreal Canadiens. So stay tuned, stay passionate, and let's keep the hockey spirit alive. Because at the end of the day, it's all about that love for the game, for the team, and for that Stanley Cup dream we're all chasing together. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.